There's this ancient bit of wisdom that feels incredibly relevant right now. It's from Heraclitus, the Greek philosopher. He said, the only thing that does not change is that everything changes.
Mm.
And looking around today, well, it seems like change isn't just constant, it's accelerating, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's not just changing, it feels like it's fundamentally transforming.
Right. But here's the tricky part, and honestly a statistic that's, well, a bit worrying. A 2023 study from Proskal Scolia that surveyed over 2,000 leaders found less than 30% of transformations actually succeed. Succeed in, boosting performance and making change stick long term.
Yeah.
That's a huge number falling short.
It is, and it highlights a core issue. The pace itself is becoming so challenging. We tend to think, oh, the future will just be more of the present, but it really doesn't work that way anymore. So organizations, their processes, even their people, they all need to transform at that same accelerating speed. If they don't, well, they risk becoming irrelevant fast.
Okay, so that sets up our mission perfectly for this deep dive. We want to unpack what's driving this need for transformation, figure out why so many attempts, frankly, fail, and most importantly, uncover what needs to be in place for success. We've pulled together insights from the source material you shared, aiming to give you a real shortcut to understanding this vital challenge. All right, let's kick things off by looking at this idea of our world tomorrow.
The sources paint a picture of some massive shifts. Take the job market, for instance. It's not just a few jobs changing. We're talking potentially 85 million jobs lost by 2025, but, and this is key, 97 million new jobs created. The real story there isn't just the net gain, it's the sheer speed and the kind of reskilling that demands. It's huge.
It really is. It's about transforming what a job even looks like for so
Yeah.
many people.
And it goes beyond jobs, right? There are these big global trends emerging, like innovation needing to balance accessibility with sustainability. That's a big one. Or the rise of people with purpose, consumers and employees making choices based on values.
That changes everything for brands, definitely. And this shift from having to sharing, it's more than just ride-sharing apps, isn't it?
Oh, much more. It signals a fundamental rethink of value itself. Access over ownership.
Which must shake up traditional business models quite a bit.
Absolutely. And technology is pouring fuel on this fire. Think artificial intelligence, the metaverse. AI isn't just automating tasks anymore. It's enabling hyper-personalization, predicting trends, entirely new ways of doing business.
So forcing companies to rethink everything.
Pretty much. And the metaverse, though it's still early days, points to, new virtual economies, new ways to collaborate. It demands incredible agility. And then there's the work culture itself. We're seeing only hybrid is permitted, becoming standard remote work, diverse teams.
Right.
So bringing it all together, these huge external forces are basically demanding organizations reshape themselves profoundly. It's not just tweaking things. It's real transformation needed to stay in the game. The world simply isn't waiting.
Yeah, makes sense. And just to give a clearer picture on those new jobs, the Job of Tomorrow report mentioned roles in areas like data and AI, the green economy, people and culture, the care economy, engineering, IT, product development, sales, marketing, content. It's a whole new landscape. So with all this rapid change happening, it makes you ask a basic question. We throw around the word change a lot, but the sources differentiate it from transformation. What's the real difference there? Why does it matter?
That's a great question. The sources put it quite clearly. Changes often happen either because of a vision or because of a crisis. So a vision-driven change might be, say, implementing a new CRM system to improve sales. Proactive, a crisis-driven one. Think about the pandemic forcing companies to pivot to online models overnight just to survive. Reactive.
Got it. So both are shifts, but transformation.
Transformation is deeper, more fundamental. It's about a real cultural evolution, as the sources call it. And what drives that? Several things. Obvious one, business performance. Results are dropping, maybe below expectations. Then there's significant change. Maybe a bold new vision is announced or a major change management program kicks off. New leadership is a big catalyst too. A new CEO comes in with a totally different agenda, a new focus.
Right, that often shakes things up.
Definitely. And then you have all those external pressures. Intense competition, maybe an M&A, new legal regulations, ethics issues, a financial crisis, or just relentless technological acceleration, all pushing for that deeper shift.
So it sounds like transformation isn't just putting out fires or following a plan. It's more about seeing what's coming, identifying an emerging paradigm maybe, and using that insight to create innovative value, and find new opportunities for growth, for improvement, for productivity, almost like shaping the future instead of just reacting to it.
Exactly. That's
Okay.
a great way to put it.
Okay, so we understand the why now. Let's shift to the how. This is where it gets really interesting, especially the human side of things. The sources mention this concept, cerebri mudanza, the brain and change. They point out that for individuals, going through transformation can bring up strong feelings, threat, suffering, challenge, stress. It highlights how personal this is.
It really is. And that's precisely why certain conditions, certain qualities act as catalysts for success. The environment matters hugely. Sources emphasize places that promote learning, innovation, transparency, care, and respect. These aren't just, nice to haves. They build the foundation for better organizational and team results, especially when things feel uncertain.
That clicks. And one powerful catalyst mentioned is the growth mindset. It sounds simple, but the contrast with a fixed mindset seems critical for transformation. Can you unpack those definitions from the sources?
Sure, a fixed mindset is really focused on validation. Someone thinking this way might feel, I prove, I serve. Their goal is to demonstrate capabilities they already have, and often the drive is, I seek to generate better results than the others. It's about proving existing worth.
Okay, competitive, proving yourself.
Right. But the growth mindset, the one you need for transformation, flips that. The focus shifts to improve, to actively develop capabilities. And the benchmark isn't others, it's yourself. I seek to improve the results I obtained before.
Ah, so it's internal improvement versus external validation.
Exactly. It's moving from a static view of ability to a dynamic one focused on learning and mastery.
Yep.
That's the engine you need for ongoing change.
That's a really clear distinction. Okay, that leads perfectly into the second crucial concept, psychological safety. The source calls it the basis for the courage to change and innovate. Sounds absolutely foundational.
It truly is, and it's often misunderstood. It's not just about being nice or avoiding conflict. The sources define it as the belief that the work environment is safe to assume interpersonal risks.
Interpersonal risks. Like what?
Like feeling able to raise your voice, to share relevant ideas, even ask tough questions or voice concerns without fearing you'll be punished or humiliated. It's where team members trust, respect, and feel capable, even obligated to be sincere.
Obligated. That's strong.
It is, because the cost of not having it is huge. As the source says, if we prioritize silence, the team will lose an opportunity. Every single time.
Wow. Okay, you can really see the impact when you look at how it interacts with performance standards. The sources lay out 4 zones. You've got high psychological safety plus low standards. That's the zone of comfort. Nice place to be, maybe, but not much happens.
Comfortable, but stagnant.
Then low psychological safety plus low standards is the zone of apathy. People just don't care.
Checked out.
And low psychological safety plus high standards. That sounds like the zone of anxiety, right? High pressure, but people are too afraid to speak up, make mistakes.
Precisely. Lots of stress, burnout risk is high, and innovation gets crushed because people fear failure.
But the sweet spot, the goal for transformation, is high psychological safety plus high standards. That's the zone of learning and high performance.
That's the target, where people feel safe enough to stretch, experiment, learn from failures, and are held to high expectations.
So how do you actually build that safety? What are the practical steps?
Good question. The source offers some really concrete suggestions. First, leaders need to actively ensure that all voices contribute and are heard. Don't just let the loudest person dominate.
Okay, be inclusive.
Second, replace blame with curiosity. When something goes wrong, ask, what can we learn? Not whose fault is it? Her. Third, leaders need to show their vulnerability. If you act infallible, people won't feel safe being open about their own struggles.
Makes sense. Be human.
Fourth, practice empathetic listening. Really try to understand the other person's perspective before jumping in with your own. Seek first to understand.
Harder than it sounds sometimes.
It is. Fifth, actively incentivize healthy debate. Constructive disagreement is crucial for innovation. Don't shut it down. Sixth, recognize contributions in a specific manner. Generic praise doesn't mean as much as acknowledging specific efforts. And finally, maybe most importantly for learning, reframe feedback and failure. Treat them not as endpoints, but as opportunities to grow and improve.
Those are really actionable.
Yeah, and you can see how putting these into practice directly builds an environment that is conducive to adaptation and experimentation. Without that safe ground, transformation efforts are likely to stall or fail, just like that Prosy statistic showed.
Okay, so let's pull this together. To recap the essential ingredients for successful transformation, the sources point to. Things like visionary leadership, absolutely crucial. Plus, open communication, building a flexible culture, and making sure there's proper investment in resources.
All vital pieces. But what really enables all of those pieces to work together effectively is that psychological safety as a basis for the courage to change and innovate. It creates the underlying environment where adaptation, experimentation, and ultimately real transformation can actually happen.
It really seems like the bedrock. So here's a final thought for you to consider, especially thinking back to that statistic, less than 30% success rate. What unspoken fears or maybe hidden assumptions might be unconsciously holding your team or organization back from adapting and innovating? And maybe more importantly, what's just one small step you could take, perhaps even today, to start fostering a little bit more psychological safety where you work? Something to mull over.